Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Modern Investing on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star. Our guest today is Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Sasha. It's great to be here.
Thank you. And it's quite an unusual day today because what's happened is, first of all, congratulations with one of your favorite stocks, which went up sharply today. And it's doing phenomenal things. It signed, I think, the agreement with Google, and that's why it's doing so well today. Marvel, of course, we're talking about, right? And the dollar went sharply down, and that caused gold and the mm, the other stocks, particularly very well did today. The Bitcoin stock, it went up sharply just recently. It's moving up. Market somewhat shaky still, but I think it's kind of recovering from what's happened yesterday. How did you fare in this market, Jim?
Well, I think the best word that I can come up with to describe the market is chaos. It's very unpredictable, and but what we are seeing is a transfer of wealth, and this goes beyond the transfer of the wealth from the middle class and poor to the ultra rich, who are getting even richer. Um, but a transfer from the old Magnificent Seven type stocks to the AI based stocks. And this transfer of wealth has made this market um, uh, very hard to understand unless you realize that this transfer of wealth is taking place. And so the old standbys and a lot of the old stocks that were for like 20, 30 years being very predictable, they're losing ground. And these stocks that you've never heard of, Marvell, for example, um, I know it was not in the news, but I was talking about it, and it's up nearly 200% over the year. AMD is up like 300%, and one that I used to speak about quite a bit, Taiwan Semiconductor, another 200% earner. So these we were investing in semiconductor chips, and these were the dawn of the AI age, and we knew that semiconductors were going to be invaluable. So that was a good place to bet your money, and the track record has proven us to be correct about that. But now it's still AI and AI related companies, and the AI related companies that I've been about and investing in right now are EME, which is off today, but is let's see, I just had it up on my screen. Um, let's see. It has gone up 35% in the last year. Another one is APH. It's up of almost 200%. And these are the companies that support the growth of data centers. The data centers are necessary, although they may be um, despised by many, to support AI. And these companies support the infrastructure that builds these data centers, the fiber connectivity that's needed, the copper, all these types of things, the materials that are necessary to build and support high speed internet connections, which AI relies upon. It must have these high speed connections. And so investing in them, even though there's chaos around us, in the center of the storms, we can stand pretty serene.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. It's really theme for investing this time because that's the only one that really proves over and over again it's a viable, and it's proving itself that it's here to stay. You cannot escape
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So you don't try to repair something that works. You just
don't If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. You don't need it.
Yeah.
It's doing marvelous things for you, and that's the easiest way to be invested. Even if sometimes it has a little bit hiccups, but it's moving still. The trend is still there. So
Right.
even if you may lose 2-3 percentage points in a single day, like
Sure.
today was the case. But again, it's recovering so quickly.
Yes.
So it's almost buy a deep strategy in this
Right.
instance that works.
Which is what I've done with NVIDIA um, multiple times. NVIDIA has soared, and then when the dip comes, I buy again, and then it soars. And so its
You
return
know,
has been good. And
unlike many of the stocks that you mentioned, Nvidia is probably one of the most disappointing stocks.
yeah, it hasn't soared to the
It's
200% level. Right.
keep its level. It's not going down sharply,
Yeah.
but it's not moving up decisively either. I'm expecting the move sooner or later to $250 territory,
Hmm.
and I think it's going to happen before the year end, if not
Uh-huh.
earlier. It was already 236 all-time high, so that's not so far away, 250 from
No.
36. But because the stock is, I can't even say that it's very expensive because if you take price per earning ratio, I think it's the most undervalued stock in this AI infrastructure
It's
companies.
affordable.
It's
It-
affordable, and
and the
that's
latest on that, they're investing in Europe's Nordic countries
yeah,
to develop these data centers there, and it's GPUs, the graphic processing units, throughout the data centers there, and so that's opening up a new place for revenue. And the idea is to back these companies that are producing revenue, and all the companies that I mentioned are reporting every quarter enormous amounts of revenue. And NVIDIA still, even though sometimes you see a little dip after the report of their earnings may have not met expectations, but their earnings are still magnificent. They're making so much money hand over fist. So people have been, but some of these dips are, they're panic selling based on people thinking that the AI bubble is about to burst, as we saw with the .com in the late 90s, 2000. You know, but this is not a bubble that's going to burst anytime soon.
yeah,
So
agree.
don't be in fear. And also, when we sell on the way down, that's usually you want to buy on the way up and sell when it's still going up. For example, I sold Marvell too early. Marvell just kept going up, but
Yeah,
it was going up, and my philosophy is, when I hit my number, that's when I sell. And my number is wildly optimistic. So when I hit it, it's amazing. And so I take some, and what I've learned is to take 50% off and leave 50% in, so that I can, if it keeps going up, great. But I've already gotten back what I put in. So everything is gravy from that point on.
I'm using a different strategy. When the stock is keep moving higher and higher, I'm selling covered calls.
Mm-hmm.
This way, I'm protecting myself from certain downturn.
Right.
And
That's another way to go.
Nvidia is a perfect example. It
Yeah.
went higher and higher. I sold covered calls, and so therefore, I'm not worrying too much from last. Yesterday, I think Nvidia went down big time. It's still down today, I think, a little bit.
A little
But
bit.
I'm not too worried about have covered calls sold. So I did the same with Oracle. Oracle actually it's recovering now, but it went down yesterday quite substantially. But again, I wouldn't worry about it because I sold covered calls, and so that protects me from downturn and allows me to keep my position because we don't know how far any of this company's stock can go. Oracle, it used to be over $300 a while ago. So when they reporting on September 10th, I believe. Okay, so we'll see what's happened there. They were criticized for heavy investment in infrastructure and borrowed a lot of money. But Oracle, it's a huge revenue producing company
Yeah.
otherwise. And I think they can carry this debt for some time. But we'll see. We'll see. It's not important even the numbers, but the outlook and markets. They call whisper numbers. So if
Right.
they will not
Right.
reach, same with Nvidia. If they don't
Yeah.
reach whisper numbers, although
Right.
Nvidia time and time again beats whisper numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. Even the wild expectations can be exceeded. And so-
That's right. That's
but
Phenomena is that the U.S. dollar is not doing that
no.
well.
And
Uh,
global bonds are the yields are going up and up, and so this is there's a lot of reasons to worry and to be concerned, but there's still ways to make money in this marketplace.
agree.
Yeah.
You see, the problem is that this new Fed chairman is Trump's nominee, so he got basically the mandate to lower interest rates. And
Right.
how you can do it if
You can't.
the 30 and 10 years bonds are moving higher and higher?
Right.
How
Right.
you can lower interest rates? I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe the situation will change.
Right.
We'll see how it
Well,
will.
unlike many of Trump's appointments, this guy is at least competent. So they've held rates
Yes.
steady,
Yeah,
and
yes, he is for sure. And another problem is that the war with Iran is not going away anytime soon. In fact, it seems to me that Iran is preparing more aggressive posture and may commit some attacks against U.S. targets and U.S. Partners or used to be partners, whoever they are today. And so that's another thing what keeps markets sort of uncertain. And
yes.
although it's still moving up, it's an uptrend overall.
Yes, but it is part of the chaos, and Trump doesn't help because the things he says, like he's going to start bombing Oman, But the news that I saw was the United Arab Emirates is halting trade relations with Iran. Now that's going to put significant pressure on Iran because they're doing business to the tune of $20 billion a year. So that's going to hurt, and so. The developments in the Middle East are going to have repercussions on the global marketplace, and there's no question, right? And but the fact that these trading partners are starting to dry up sources of income for Iran has got to hurt that regime, and so they have to. I think at some point they've been playing a waiting game because they think, well, Trump always chickens out. And so they've been, trying to allow pressure on Trump to be their best friend. And but when the trading partners, such as the UAE, decide to disengage from Iran, that's going to put pressure on them. So at some point, they're going to come to the table. They haven't yet. When Trump announces they're at talks, Iran's saying, no, we're not. And, it's weird that we're not trusting the White House and we're trusting what Iran says. But if they're talking, they'll tell us. And if they aren't talking, they say that too. And we can't believe what Trump is telling us about what's going on in the Middle East and what he's going to do tomorrow. And it's always a surprise. This leads to the chaos that people don't understand what's happening because Trump doesn't understand what's happening. And and he says one thing yesterday, another today, and another tomorrow. So who knows what's going to happen in the Middle East? And markets don't like that uncertainty. But one way or the other, this is going to come to a solution. Whether if all parties are dissatisfied, that's a good compromise. And we'll, maybe again, the Strait of Hormuz will be open to traffic. Right now, they're going towards away from the Iran side, the strait, and they're starting to get through. So, Iran may not be able to exact the tolls that they've been hoping to for the traffic that goes through there. Who knows? I don't know.
The strategy of Iran reminds me what's happened before election of 1980 when it was Carter against Ronald Reagan.
Hmm.
and they had U.S. hostages, and they were waiting until Carter would lose election, and only then
Release
release
them.
hostages. So
Yes.
I think they're waiting until midterm election, and Republican will lose heavily, and then they would make some kind of agreement with U.S.
Yeah,
But
there were some interesting primary results, including in Alaska, which we don't think of very often. But the Democratic candidate outpolled the Republican candidate, and so Alaska is an interesting thing. There would be 4 people on the ballot
mhm,
in November, but right now the Democrat is, and that will flip one of the states that's necessary to flip the Senate. But
yeah,
it seems clear that the ability of the Republicans to hold the House is not only in jeopardy, but it's almost a certainty that they'll lose the House. But they're still in position to remain in control of the Senate. But if you flip Alaska, you flip Maine, and 2 more seats. That's all, then the entire Congress would be against Trump and maybe able to put some brakes on him. Although he seemed to be, dismissive of what the court says. He's lost another. He appealed to the Supreme Court that he didn't have to pay this woman $5 million for defaming her, and he lost again. How many lawsuits has he done, intruding his nonsense about the 2020 election? How many times has he lost in the courts? And he just keeps appealing until he goes to the Supreme Court and he loses there and he has no more appeals. But he doesn't think there are any consequences to his actions, and he can ignore Congress, he can ignore the courts and do whatever he wants. This means that he thinks he's in charge. He's a despot. He's a dictator. And when we have someone like this is counter to whatever the United States of America represents. And it's like no kings. We were separating from a monarch, and we were saying no taxation without representation. We're a representative democracy, and Trump does not understand that. He does not read. He does not understand history, and so he doesn't realize that what he's doing violates every democratic principle in this country. And one of the things that we're going to have to do is hope that the people go out and vote in mass numbers. Don't stay home, go out and vote.
yeah, and it seems to me that his goal is before midterm election, which is closer and closer.
Yes, right.
Uh,
November's coming.
with some good news elsewhere on internationally or the domestic news or so on. And it seems to me he gave up almost on anything except stock market, which is good for us. So he wants to pumping stock market higher and higher, and that's the only thing what he can present to his audience is look at stock market, look at
Yeah.
well
He's the wealthy are getting wealthier.
that's right, yeah. But it's very, very good for us. So it's in this way, I sort of sympathetic to what Trump is doing.
Well, which
It's
leads you to what is the October surprise that's going to happen this year? Who knows? He's capable of doing anything.
That's true. That's true. But somehow, miraculously, in this environment, he keeps moving market higher and higher. And I think that it will continue to do so until there will be some kind of a black swan or elsewhere.
The market is moving higher and higher, but if you look at the index, it's a very narrow.
Yeah.
And there isn't a breadth to this rise in the market. It's very narrow and it's very concentrated. And the AI and AI related stocks are leading the way. So if you take those out, then the market doesn't look so good. So if you're invested in traditional stocks that have been performing for 20, 30 years, you don't feel like you're in a good marketplace. If you're invested in the AI and AI related stocks, you've been enormously happy over the last couple of years. So it's very narrow range. So again, it's a transfer of wealth from the broad base to a very narrow sector.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. Interestingly enough, I trimmed a little bit my positions in both NVIDIA when they had run last week or two, NVIDIA and also the Oracle. So I had some extra money and I didn't know really what to do with that. So I decided, okay, so I'll buy Berkshire Hathaway B. I thought that I didn't think that I would make any money there, but at least sort of I will park there. So maybe it will go a little bit higher, maybe not. Sure enough, it went down from where I bought. I sold covered calls, so that sort of helped me to
Right.
be in a little plus even
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But even that stock, which is almost equivalent of S&P 500, and yet it's not doing that well at all.
Right. Yeah. The S&P 500 again. The ones at the top are leading the way. So the index seems to be rising, but it's not broad based. You look at 500 companies. Not 500 companies are doing well.
No, not at all. Not at
No.
all. I don't think that 400 companies of
Exactly.
are doing really well.
Right.
Not at all. The breadth of the market is negative.
Right.
If
Yes.
you take a few AI stocks, like top, not even 10,
And they're soaring. They're soaring. And so they lead the index and they make the index appear that it's rising, but it's not broad-based. Not a lot of companies are participating in this. So it's a little bit deceptive. And you have to be knowledgeable enough to realize that if you're investing in the S&P 500, you're picking 400 losers. And, why not invest in the companies that are doing well? And look for revenue, a lack of debt, revenue, and the companies that are reporting increased revenue in this age of AI. And we're still on the cusp of the revolution. It's going to affect society. We have AI agents now that are going out and breaking through military websites and infiltrating them, and without being detected. And so they're training. AI is training AI now to become more and more sophisticated.
That's
We
right.
don't know what the future brings in this area.
Gene, speaking about S&P 500, do you remember our discussions with Milan?
Yes.
When I was telling him
Very dear man, very nice man.
500, 500 stocks, of which 400 are not doing anything.
Right.
Even with 100, it'll take
Yeah.
5, 10 stocks, and that's it. The
Yeah.
rest are not producing. So why do you keep?
Yeah. Well, he was satisfied with the gains that the index provides. And
Yeah, overall, well, I would say it's a very low risk strategy.
yes,
Even if the most of the stocks are still, it's
an
quite-
opportunity cost, as you pointed out many times. And the thing I like about your strategy with the covered calls is that you get a premium when you place them.
Absolutely.
So you get cash as well,
So essentially, what
hedging your bets.
I have basically in each stock, let's see, Nvidia, for example, you have two positions. One is a long and one is a short, but you're not shorting stock, you're shorting call.
Right.
So let's imagine the most obvious scenario. Let's see if stock is not moving higher or lower, it stays the same.
Right.
Calls that you sold for some time it stays the same, and all of a sudden then a time is expiring and all of a sudden it's moving down to zero. So in this scenario, if it's not going anywhere, you're a winner. Now let's see if stock is moving higher, then of course your gains on stock outweigh any losses that you're taking on cover call, because the momentum, the percentages, everything in your favor. The only thing is the stock is going down. Okay,
Right.
so of course the call will expire, but then you take losses, but your losses are much less because of this cover call premium that you got. So
Right.
you can stay, and then you sell another call with another month's expiration month. And if you see with Nvidia, I'm not selling long calls because they have report actually a week from now.
Right.
So then you don't want to diminish your exposure. So I was selling, it reports on 26. So I was selling August 24 calls, which expired before the report.
Right.
Now on the report, then you have to figure out what to do is just stay naked and hope to gain a lot are maybe selling long calls, like December calls, if not January, and just grab the premium, whatever is available,
Yeah.
and protect ourselves this way. I'm
Yeah.
not so sure what would be the right strategy. What about you, Jim? Are
Yeah.
you using this strategy of selling
I
covered
no, I
calls?
admire that you do it, and I think it's very smart. But I'm mostly buying and holding until I hit the number that I set for myself.
Mhm.
And then, as I said before, I used to just sell when I hit my number, and now I'm taking 50% off the table. And if it goes up, it's another way of looking at it. If it goes up, then great, I got 50% of what I put in. But
Yes.
if it goes down, I've already taken what I put in off the table. So, we're talking about AMD, Marvell, these types of Taiwan Semiconductor, these all hit the number that I had set. So I was always playing with house money. But in
Yeah.
case of, yeah, but I still own AMD, but I sold my Marvell. I wised up and kept going up. And I said, okay, 50% off the table. And then I can participate and be happy every time Marvell goes up.
Yeah, yeah, excellent strategy. Well, Jim, I'm glad that you're doing so well in this complicated market, and I'm doing my best also
Yeah.
to stay afloat. And hopefully, market will continue moving up as Donald Trump wants to do it.
A very narrow sector is leading the marketplace.
Hmm.
Yes. So,
Okay. So, Jim, I'd like to thank you so much for today's program.
thank you.
And we'll see you next Wednesday, same place, same time. And
And I hope for green on your screen, Sasha.
yes, same with you. Okay, Jim.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you again, and all the best to all of our listeners. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.